Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. So today I'm in the residence of Mr. DAD. So we just had a couple hours session to compare between the EVERSOLO DMP A8 as well as the EVERSOLO DMP A6 Gen 2 Master Edition. So we did various comparisons with the streamer only section, going to the Holo Audio Cyan 2 DAC, and also using the players to output directly to the integrated amplifier. Means we're using the DAC, built-in DAC inside the various players. Okay, so it was quite an interesting comparison. We managed to have three of us there today to do the comparison, and we had more or less the same conclusion, which we had taken note and then we shared after the listening session. Okay, so first, I'll introduce you the system that we have today. So the players were connected directly to either the integrated amplifier. We have the Luxman L509Z. So this is 120 watts per channel into 8 ohms. Very clean, nice amplifier, sufficient for the system that we have here today. We have also these speakers. Is the TAD ME1 bookshelf speakers with coaxial tweeter and the mid-range. And we have also the subwoofer to complement the bass, which is the REL S510 subwoofer. Oh, and the DAC we used was the Holo Audio Cyan 2 DAC, which is actually an R2R DAC, which we use connected from the. If you want to test the streamer section, we connected them directly to the Holo Audio using the coaxial connection. Alright, so let me first explain to you what are the differences, the key differences between these two units. The first thing is the price. So the price for the DMP A8 in Singapore currency, it's around 2,800 Singapore dollars. I'll put the price in the US dollar in the description. And for the DMP A6 Master Edition in Gen 2, it's around 1,600 Singapore dollars. Okay, so that's definitely a price difference between these two. Second difference is on the DAC chip that's being used. So for the DMP A8, it's using the AKM chip, which is the AK4499, I think so. Yeah, for the AK4499 chip. And for the DMP A6 is using the ESS 9038 Q2M chip. Okay, so that's one big difference. Secondly, obviously we can see also the size difference. The height is the same, so the height of both units have the same, whereas you can see the width. The A8 is actually like a full width piece of equipment, and it's in terms of size, it's actually about 12 centimeters wider, and in terms of the depth as well, it's about 6 centimeter deeper than the A6. So something to consider if your space is an issue. So this is some of the difference. So inside both units, they have linear power supply. So I've upgraded my DMP A8 to have 2 linear power supply, whereas the one inside the DMP A6 Master Edition G2 has 1 linear power supply built in. In terms of function, the screen is the same size. In terms of function, the A8 has the DSP chip, so with that you can do room correction, you can do DSP, EQ, PEQ, FIR filters, and using REW to do the room correction for this. Whereas this function is not available in the A6. Okay, and both these units you can have HDMI eARC. So some of the differences that you can note there. In terms of the build, it's the same quality build. In terms of color, the A8 only comes in black, whereas there are 2 color options now available for the A6 Master Gen 2. One is the silver here, and the other one is black. All right. So now we've covered the differences. So let me explain to you the differences in terms of the sound. I guess this is what you guys want to know. Okay, so we have the difference in terms of, first we tried it using the DAC, built-in DAC from these two, and we compare. Okay. So if you compare I have my notes here, so because there's a lot of things which we wrote during the comparison. Okay, first we tried the DMP A6 Gen 2. We could tell that this has a very nice detail on the top end, lots of air, lots of sparkle detail is really abundant in this unit. There's no complaints at all in this chip. It's really good quality, and things are, you can hear all the sound very clearly. There's a very nice soundstage. But if you compare with the A8, okay, I would say the soundstage for the A8 is further back, further behind, a little bit wider. In terms of the sound tonality, the A8 has a much more lush, we call it velvety sound. This word has been used a lot, but it straight away we can feel that this is the big difference we have. So it gives a very nice, smooth sound that it tends to give that enveloping, warm feeling, But it's not at the expense of loss of detail, I would say. Things, sounds are very natural, but you won't feel by itself the A6. You won't feel that there's any lacking in terms of the quality. It's just that when you play the A8, you can feel the difference immediately. The sound tonality is quite different between these two units. It depends again what is your personal preference. If you like lots of detail and sparkle and air, the A6 is definitely gives you more of that. Whereas if you are more for the natural sound, more for warm sound, a bit more towards the tube-like sound, but not so much, I would say that's more for the A8. Yeah. So that is some of the observations which we had. And in terms of the A6, it also depends on your system. Yeah. So I would say too much of a good thing is also can be negative. So if your system is very bright, it's hyper revealing, you might find that with this level of detail that comes from the player, you might find that a little bit edgy, and some of the tracks you might find like that. Whereas you don't have this with the A8. I would say in terms of the bass for both units, we feel is almost the same. It was quite difficult to tell the difference in terms of bass in our current setup today, but maybe in your setup you can feel more difference. Both had a good amount of bass. Was quite clear on the bass tonality, etc. Let's say definitely with the A8, I would say it's good for a more easy listen, more laid back, with the soundstage back, more relaxing compared to the A6. Yeah. So after that, we also had a comparison where we used both streamers, and it goes out to the holo audio DAC. When we used only the streamer alone, the differences are not as much compared to when we had the built-in DACs played, right? So, but we could tell a small amount of difference, and I'll share here. So, first we had the A6 on the streamer alone. Using the DAC, compare with using the DAC in the ESS DAC inside the A6. The sound had much more body, more meat in the bones, I would say. The mid range and the mid bass had a lot more texture and a richer tone. So the sound became a bit less bright, less air, more warm. So again, it's up to your preference and your system. Whereas for the A8, when we use this with the holo DAC, it was the best combination that we had in the different combinations that we tried today, definitely. It had a very dynamic sound, but yet it was very warm, lush, and I would say highly appealing, very natural sound, which I guess a lot of audiophiles will like. Yeah. We tried with vocal music and also with complex orchestral music, and with more complex music, the differences became more apparent. Yeah. So with the dynamics, the A6 was very dynamic by itself. We could tell that it played very well. And then when we tried with the A8, it became even more apparent that this unit had very good dynamics. We played complex music without the instruments were very natural. Even though it was very complex, we could tell each of these instruments were clearly placed on the sound stage. Yeah, I would say in general, I would say the A6 by itself is a really good unit, great value for money. Whether these differences, which I explained, it's worth the money is entirely up to you. Of course, depends on your budget. By itself, the A6 is a really good unit. Obviously, from my opinion, the A8 is perform better. But again, both of them are excellent units, great value for money. User interface is really good. No complaints so far on the UI and no bugs that we can see. Yeah, just want to share with you what we found today. Was a good time, spending time with the friends, testing out the different systems. And hope you enjoyed the video, and see you soon.